Hello, welcome to episode 104 of the Zines and Roger Crochet podcast. Hello, how are you? You alright? I'm doing very well. I have very loud children and they are in the house. So if you can hear at least one of them shouting, it's because he sat in his bedroom directly above the living room and he's on his computer talking to his friends. So if you can hear that, not a lot I can do about it. So welcome. I thought it was about time that I stopped by for a chat. It's been a really long time, and I don't mean, tutorials don't count really because you only ever get to see my hands, and I don't talk about other random stuff. I just show you how to make a specific thing, whereas this is going to be more, freestyling. Making it up as I go along, but there is a focus to today's episode because I want to kind of focus on the granny stitch projects that I've got on the go at the moment. I recorded a podcast last week, and as soon as I kind of stopped, I realised that actually, do you know what? I rushed everything. I tried to rush through everything I'd done in the last 8 months, and it's just not doable. In probably it would have been an hour as well. It was too fraught trying to squeeze in pretty much every project and every idea and everything. So I'm going to rein it back in and just focus on granny projects of the last 8-9 months or so. Because actually in the previous episode, one of my works in progress was this granny blanket, and I did start talking about it in 103 because I had all the squares done, I think, at that point, and I was ready to start stitching them together. I can't remember what I said in that episode about it though. If I went into any detail, I don't remember. So I'm going to do that today. The reason why I've been absent is because, as you know, the intention was not to podcast quite so much because I just didn't have the time to do it, and it just sort of took away crochet time, and I would rather spend my time crocheting stuff and like focusing on actually getting stuff out than gas bagging all the time, which I do love, of course I do, but you've got to prioritize a little bit, and unfortunately it's fallen to the wayside. But I'm going to treat myself every now and again. And here we are. The other reason why I haven't been able to squeeze anything in is because we've had an extension built, and that's pretty much finished now. And we have gone from a 2-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house, so the boys can have their own room each. And then we have what is supposed to be called the office, but I keep calling it the craft room. It is an office, but it's got all my wool in it and all my yarn and all my crochet books. So I don't know, it just sort of, the habit has begun right from the start, in that it's my craft room. But yeah, technically speaking, it is an office for those that are working, and at the moment it is being used as an office. There's not enough room in there for like a sort of an armchair you can cozy on down into. So I think what I'm going to do is, at the end of the video, if I remember, I will smush in the tour video that I did. I did a tour of what everything looks like now. And I filmed that last week at the time that I filmed the podcast the first time round, the one that I'm going to delete in a minute. So you can see the office /craft room for yourself. So today, I've got this blanket to talk about, and what I want to do is go over it in some detail so that if you want to make your own, you've got a video reference to come in on and watch, as well as a blog post that I intend to write. And I did also film a teeny tiny, like minute long video of it on the bed, and then just sort of so you can have a look. But I'm slightly embarrassed about putting it in here. I'll probably do it anyway, but just because I didn't tidy the bedroom that day, and there's just loads of sort of stuff, crud on around the place. You know how like a tidy bedroom has nothing on it, but like nothing on the floor and all the clothes are put away. You can see, if you're being nosy, you can just see that there's like shoe boxes just down by the side of the bed, or a pile of clothes and stuff like that. But you know, it's normal, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably try and squeeze that in as well somewhere, just so you can have a look at it when it's on the bed, because it does, I mean, it's ever so cozy, this blanket. And I'm looking forward to having it on the bed again in the winter, because it's just been too hot at the moment because it's the summer. So it's a double knit no, it's not a mattress. It's a double knit blanket, and it fits on a double bed. And it is made up of lots of granny squares. You've got 12 large granny squares and 84 small granny squares. And the intention is to show you how I put it all together. I've actually recorded a tutorial that will be separate to this video. And I've got 2 existing videos already about how to make the granny squares themselves. So I just published the other day the large granny square pattern as a video tutorial only so far. Perhaps I'll do a blog post for that as well. Just write down the pattern. And I was going to say and chart, but I don't know if I'll do a chart with the tutorial as well. You might not need it. I don't know. And there is also a tutorial of how to do this small square as well, because I thought it would be useful, because this, not only for this pattern so you can make this blanket, but also because this small square features in a cowl pattern I did as well, which I've got here to show you too. Right. Oh, and I also have a hat. I could talk about a granny stitch hat as well that I'm tinkering with at the moment. So seeing as I've started talking about the blanket, that's where we're going to go with the details on how to make it. Some facts and useful things. I was going to say interesting, they might not be that interesting, but they'll be useful should you want to make your own blanket. I do want to go over a couple of details that I raised in the previous podcast that were wrong. The maths in my brain don't always work. So when I say, I'll look at something and go, oh, that's however many rounds. In that case, I'll just double it and that'll be twice the size. It doesn't work like that. So I think because my little squares are 5 rounds, I thought my big squares would have to be 10 rounds. But that's not true. And without sort of giving you an explanation, because I'll just stumble over it and get it wrong, these are not 10 rounds. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. These smaller ones. This large one, which you can see, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rounds. Okay, so the big squares are 13 rounds and the small squares are 5 rounds. I said something totally different on the previous podcast because, yeah, I'm maths stupid. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm a creative person. I'm not a mathematical genius. It's absolutely fine. I have accepted my position in life. I'm not a maths whiz. The other thing I got wrong was that I was going to try and make it so that I only used 1 ball of all the colours with a few extra for the border, and that just wasn't possible, especially because I'd worked out that I thought I was only going to do 10 rounds of those. I thought I might just be able to eke it out so that 1 ball of each colour would do, but unfortunately I had to buy 2 balls, and I think of the second ball, you don't use it all, so I've got some left over to try and work out, maybe I could do a different project with the leftovers. I'm thinking a cardigan, but I don't know if that's enough, if I've got enough. And I've already been using it for other things as well, just like swatches and smaller projects that aren't coming to mind right now. I've got a bit of a croaky throat. I might have to go make myself a cup of tea. I made myself a cup of tea and I've had a wee and I'm back. I think the throat is better. I was getting a bit croaky then. I want to be cohesive and like do this in a really kind of logical order about how to make your own blanket, or just to learn a little bit more about the process. But I think I'm just going to have to pluck at things as they fall in my brain. And also I do have notes, but again, they're pretty random as well. But one thing I wanted to do is point you in the direction of Stitch Fiddle. If you wanted to make a blanket that's got different size blocks, because you can play around with the placement of where you want your large squares to go in amongst all the little ones. I could do like a screenshot or share the chart that I came up with, and it wasn't perfect. It wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be, but I didn't want it to be a uniform placement of squares. That was quite important to me, just because that's how I wanted it. And I did play around a little bit with the placement of them and came up with something that I just had to go, that'll do. Because in the grand scheme of things, when you've got your blanket out on the bed or you're sort of snuggling under it on the sofa, nobody's going to go, ooh, it's great, but I don't like the placement of those 12 large squares. It's just, you know, it's highly unlikely for that to happen. So I've just gone that, let's sort of not spend any more time tinkering with where they're going to go and just bung them in those places. So you've got to sort of draw the line somewhere, and I have. It works. The other thing about this is that I haven't blocked it, and the video of it that I did when it's on the bed, you can see that actually after several sort of uses just by living on the bed, it has kind of blocked itself in the most part, and it's just the corners that I still curl a little bit, and a good blocking will sort that out, but I haven't done it yet. Will I ever do it? Part of me goes, no, I won't. But the other part of me that wants to take a decent photograph of it I'll make myself block it. Or at least just the corners. I could just block the corners, to be honest. It might be easier. It's not totally square. I think if you were to, it's like one row of little squares deeper along one length. Does that make sense? I'm going to talk about the blanket that I'm making now, but before we do that, I'm just going to slot in the video of the blanket on the bed, and I haven't filmed it yet, but I'll just show you it all held up as well, and you can have a look at it in its wider expanse, so you can see the blanket rather than it just being shoved on the back of the sofa. This is the first blanket I made at the beginning of the year. It's not exactly the same as the one I'm going to make, or I'm making at the moment, because, and actually it's hidden pretty well, and I haven't blocked it, but I don't think that blocking would actually solve the problem that I have, which is these giant squares have too many chains in them for the circle, so they're quite billowy, and they've got, we can see it now as I've lifted it up, too many chains in that. I think probably this round or that round, probably that one. And so for my new blanket that I'm making at the moment, I've actually omitted a chain that was creating that billow, so that all of these, if I move over here, they were all sticking up, especially when I first made it, they were all sticking up. I mean, on the bed when it's in use, you can't tell when it's like this, can you? So the neighbours going camping, I can see everything they're doing in the reflection of the glass door. I feel like such a curtain twitcher. I'm not, I promise. It's just distracting when I'm self-conscious when I film these days, and that's another thing. I think one of the reasons why I don't sort of podcast quite so much is that I see so many people at ease in front of the camera on Instagram and stuff like that, and it's sort of had a sort of a detrimental effect on how I do things, and I feel a bit beaten sometimes by like social media, and I just don't want to prance about in front of a camera. And then like it has an effect on like me just being in front of a camera but not being prancy, and I feel like it's not good enough. And so, you know, it kind of like, yeah, makes you feel a bit crappy. So that's another reason why I don't video quite so much, because you sort of go, what's the point? I can't be as good as that person over there, which is terrible because, as we know, comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, that's correct. Anyway, right, so I'm making a second blanket right now and I bloody love it. I hope that's not a swear word because YouTube might shout at me, but I've started putting all my squares together as well. I'm using mattress stitch for my joining rather than like a join as you go, and I know loads of people really do prefer join as you go. However, I can't do that tinkering, tweaking process of swapping squares around when they're all laid out on the floor if I'm doing join as you go, because I won't know the outside colour of each square, and I cannot sort of fathom how you might work it out in advance if you haven't actually got the colours there in front of you and you're just going to randomly join as you go. Maybe I should try it one day, be brave. But in this instance, I definitely wanted to be able to see the layout of all the colours, including that outside round, before I started joining them. I can't imagine like doing that join as you go thing and then sort of taking a look and going, oh, I don't like it. I don't like those colours next to each other. I don't know if this is mad or clever or it just happens to suit me. But when I do that layout of all the squares on the floor in the order they're going to be, I'll take a photograph so I can copy it as I'm stitching them together. I can look at my phone, zoom in on the corner I'm making, for example, and go, oh yeah, that one goes next to that one, right, that's what I'll stitch together next. I'm using that as my guide. But because it's a massive blanket for a double bed, I split it into 4 and bag it up. So all my blankets are in here, squares, and I've got 4 bags, and I number them. They've got a little bit of paper so I know which sort of quadrant I'm working on at a time. It just makes it more manageable, and I can work on just a small bit, and it might take an evening or 2, 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how busy I am, to just sew them all together. And this is so much more manageable than doing the whole blanket. I've got 3 bags of squares in there, so that's 3/4. So I'm only working on the first quarter at the moment, and I put a quarter of squares in here, and then in bits I will sew them. So I've got a bit there sewn, and then here I was filming the mattress stitch tutorial with this bit, so I've got a strip of squares here, and then these ones I will also sew together using the mattress stitch. Although I filmed the mattress stitch tutorial, I haven't edited the video yet, so that would be the last video to sort out. But seeing as it's already filmed and whatnot, I can probably put that together pretty sharpish once this has gone out as well. This is King Cole Majestic I'm using for this one, and the great thing about it is that it comes in 50-gram balls. So instead of having to buy 2 100-gram balls, I bought 3 50-gram balls, thus eliminating, like, I won't have loads left over. I have a bit left over, but not as much as I would have if I had had to buy 200 grams of each colour. And the other thing, because I've only used 12 colours in this blanket, it kind of is, you are making the most of what you buy. You're making the most of that 150 grams. And it's therefore a bit more economical, which I like. The colour palette is totally different to this one, which is what I wanted. And I think this one's more jolly, and more, it's got more pop. And actually, I hate that. I hate saying pop, colour pop. Doesn't it make those colours pop? No, it makes me sick. Go away. I want it for the living room, which actually has got loads of wood furniture, loads of kind of deep earthy colours, and the I was going to say juiciness. I think that's probably worse than pop. The brightness of these colours will actually, I think, bring that together and make it kind of a bit more lively. I'm getting croaky again. I was torn about some of these colours because do I really need, like, where's that? There, here we go. There's like an apple green next to a mint green, which is a bit sort of jarring. And then the cream, it kind of, the contrast between the cream and that apple green isn't sort of particularly great. It's a bit kind of too samey. And ideally, when you make a blanket with lots of different colours, it's nice that they have contrast. And maybe they're a bit too close. But honestly, I sat there for a bit too long, contemplating whether or not I should take one or two of those shades out. But in the end, I couldn't do it. I really liked how they went together. And so, I mean, I'm hoping that in the final thing, it will be shown to work. The chances are, though, is that I will succumb to that next blanket and then do less colours, fewer colours, and because holding that up, I do think I think probably I would like one that was maybe just 6 colours. But you try and choose just 6 colours, because I'd argue with myself going, oh no, but I want that one in there. Oh no, but I really want the pink. But do you need the pink and the lilac? But I like the lilac as well. And you just, whoa, it gets a bit much. So I'll make a few different panels and then they all get sewn together, and then before you know it, you have a quarter made, and then you repeat the process for bags 2, 3 and 4. Then you sew all 4 pieces together and you've got yourself a blanket. That's my method, and I would recommend trying it and seeing how you get on if you just wanted to do a little bit at a time rather than the whole shebang. But whatever floats your boat, basically. If you have any questions about the blanket, leave a comment down below and ask so I can answer them in the blog post. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Let me show you the project that I completed with just the little squares, because it's the same but totally different. This is called the Starburst cowl, and it's just a 2 round granny, but those 2 rounds are exactly the same as the 2 rounds for the small squares in the blankets. That's basically it's this and this round in here. But I was really excited by this granny square, and so I did lots of them for this cowl in all my random stash that was just 4-ply leftovers, essentially, like sock weight yarn, fingering weight yarn. And then a pretty little border, because I was feeling it at the time. I thought it was lovely. And then this is join as you go, and in the video tutorial for the little granny square, I do demonstrate a join as you go technique. If you wanted to do it, then you can. But I felt less worried about doing it for this project, just because it was smaller, less rounds, and so therefore more easy to see and play around with colour. But there was a couple of errors in there too, I think. I definitely missed a slip stitch join in one of the squares, but you can't tell. It's just so pretty. Very easy to do join as you go. But yeah, Starburst cowl. I'll link to it below, so that if you want to grab a copy you can of the pattern. I did block it. I blocked it using pool noodles. So, well, I probably didn't have to actually, but I just didn't want creases on my precious crochet. And so if you use a pool noodle, and I think that's what they're called, isn't it? And then I've got it for blocking purposes, blocking cowls, so that the cowls don't have creases in them. If you were to block them flat, you can block them with the noodles, holding them open. If you want, you can reinforce their position with pins. And then it just means that it's without creases when it's dried. I don't know, I've literally got nothing else to say about this other than, oh, isn't it pretty? And the edging, yeah, just try to keep it simple, but I wanted something quite elegant and pretty, because normally I don't. Normally I'm too lazy to sort of think about what might finish off a project nicely. I'll just go, oh, crab stitch will do, or I just do a round of trebles. That's fine. But you know, mini advents and things like that are very popular these days. This is a perfect project for using your advent minis, plus maybe a main colour. I think that I might have used about 30 grams, so, but that includes using it in the main body as well. So you might get away with using one mini for the edges, but not including it in any of these ones. But it again is the perfect project. I think I used about 16 colours, but if you had like 24 from an advent set, it would be amazing. You'd probably still have lots left over as well. You could make it an even bigger one. Well, I haven't put it on, have I? There you go. That's what it looks like on. So just sit nicely like that. And then who's to say, yeah, you could make one like an infinity scarf, so it was like twice as long, if not a bit longer. You could make it a deeper one. In the pattern, I recommend that it is just one square deeper, because it felt like I could add another square and it would be just have a bit more kind of oomph to it. But then, yeah. So that's the Starburst cowl. Moving on, but still sticking with Granny. It's not all, I don't have all just grannies at the moment. I do have a lot of other projects that aren't granny stitch, but because I do have a lot, I thought it would be lovely to focus on Granny today. Oh, that looks awful. And I know it. This is a granny hat that I've been working on, and actually, if I get the dimensions right, it won't look awful, it will look great. But the ribbing that I did is just too, it's drawing in on itself and it's too tight, and so it looks like a weird mushroom. But if I probably make a few increases, it will be fine. I haven't joined it at the back. I only finished it last night. But I didn't frog it immediately because I wanted to analyse it a bit this morning to make sure that I wasn't too hasty. But the idea being is that you fold the brim over, and hang on, I've just got to force it on my head because it's too tight. See, if it was the right dimensions, but it's not too tight down here, that looks great. It would look great if I got it right, but at the moment it's cutting off the blood supply. So I'm thinking some increases on the last round of my grannies, because I think this is all really nice. And I really love this rib. But if I put it on the other way, there's no way that that rib will, it's just a failure. Failure, I tell you. So I'm going to have to add some more stitches so that I can make up for the tightness of that band. And it is only this bit that's too tight. So I do 2 slip stitches for the, it's a yarn, this is a yarn over slip stitch rib, and it's my favorite type of crochet rib. But obviously doing 2 slip stitches means that you are bringing it in. But if I went over it again and did just 1 slip stitch, I think that would be too loose. I could try it, but I think I'll end up with way too much ribbing. So I'm thinking that instead of that, on that last round, I'll make a handful more increases, and that should do the trick. But also the idea being that although the rib is not like, it's not the same on both sides, it looks like that on one side and that on the other. This is my preferred side, so that when you fold it up, it's on show. But if you wanted to, you can have like a looser, like beanie style, and just have it like that. But at the moment it's rubbish. I'm using really nice wool though. It's merino and it's from We Crochet, and they sent me a massive bag of different yarns to try, with no obligation to like try and sell it or like do the influencer thing. They just like, you know, you're under no obligation whatsoever. Just if you want to use it in your design, then great. Which I quite liked. I liked the fact that they weren't telling me how to do something and left it, like leaving it to my own devices. I mean, I think I signed up for their affiliate scheme, that if I did have any of you wanting to buy the yarn, then you could do it through the affiliate link. But I haven't, I think I must have done it wrong, because they haven't replied back to say, yep, that's all okay. Even though they're the ones that suggested it, so I don't understand. I must have done it wrong. But this is We Crochet Swish, a double knit weight. So here's me doing my influence thing, but without the affiliate link. So it's totally useless, and well, you might go out and buy it and they'll make loads of money, but I wouldn't, because I haven't got the affiliate link. Never mind, 100% fine superwash merino wool. It is actually really, really nice as well. And all of this is swish. The only thing, doing the increases, I've only got that much left. So if I like added a panel of that much wider, am I going to do myself over and run out of yarn? Bloody hell, I don't make life easy for myself. I really don't. But if I got that right, it's a good hat, isn't it? It wouldn't look stupidly bulbous. But I got the idea because I did some summer hats, and look, I haven't released this as a pattern because I hate it, all right? But I just felt like a douchebag wearing it. But yeah, again, I think maybe it was a confidence thing. Maybe I just felt self-conscious wearing a hat like this, and so I didn't even bother writing it up. But it was this is a cotton double knit. This is King Cole Cotton Soft. I'm nearly done with my King Cole Cotton Soft. I've nearly used up all my stash. It's taken years, but I think I'm nearly there about getting rid of it all. And it sounds like it's a bad thing, but it's just that I'm not much of a cotton fan. But people like it in the summer, don't they? So I wanted something that, I don't know, yeah, it was going to be popular, I guess. Maybe if I added another round, maybe if I did slightly different shaping. But I just feel like I should be in a plant pot in the garden. maybe next summer, maybe a different colour combo. I mean, I'm not willing to buy any more of this yarn, and I hate the colour combos that I've got. So I'm running low on ideas, and maybe I should try it with a different cotton yarn. But the other cotton yarns I've got, if it's a DK, they're all much finer, which means probably working out the ring increase rate differently again. Sigh. But that's it. That's all I have for you. I'm going to take this off. The other thing I've got to do is teach myself how to repair a granny square. There's going to be loads of tutorials online. I know it. But I've never had a granny square go wrong before until now. So I wore this cardigan to a festival on Saturday, and as I was walking around, I noticed a hole. I mean, a granny square has lots of holes, but not that kind of hole. An uninvited, an unwelcome hole. That granny square's coming undone here. Blah. Boo. So I'm going to have to figure out how to fix it. And I know there's probably going to be loads of you that will reassure me that it's easy to do, but I've never had to do it before. Do you think, I don't think it's like been snagged or cut, or maybe it has, but I'm suspicious, and I wonder if, like, as you speedily crochet through your clusters, you miss a loop. And that can sometimes cause an undo, because there's no obvious end here that's cut. So I suspect that I have just missed a loop somewhere. But yeah, and then, like, oh look, see, I'm asking for trouble now because I've just pulled on a thread and now I'm unraveling. Should have done that. But yeah. Considering I don't actually like this colour combo, I've worn this cardigan quite a lot. I just sort of felt like I had to, because I'd gone to the effort of making it, so it was worth sticking with it. But it was, yeah, it was just stuff, again, I had in stash. The pattern is actually one that I've butchered from The Missing Yarn. It comes from our crochet book. But I added a bit of shoulder shaping. That's not included in the original pattern, and this rib isn't included in the original pattern either, so it's not actually the same. Yeah, I did a bit of twiddling. Maybe I'm being punished by the crochet gods for going off piste, and that's why I've got a hole in my holy cardigan. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking now because it's lunchtime and I'm hungry. And I have probably talked about granny squares quite enough for one day. Next time, what I want to do is, I've got 2 probably blog podcasts to do before the end of September, October. And then after that, I might have a little bit of a break again, just to get my head down and do some more design work. But the next 2 podcasts will have less granny. Apart from, it would be nice if I finished that blanket, then I can show my colourful blanket off. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you are well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the tutorials for the bits that I've spoken about. And I will hopefully be back in a few weeks, if I can carve out some time. Time is just crazy. But actually, now that the extension is done, I might have more of it. Hopefully we'll catch up soon. Excellent. I will see you again soon. Cheerio. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Okay, let me take you on a little tour. I'm including our new bit so you can see our extension. And this is the new dining room. I've just cleaned the table. You can see I didn't want you to think I was a grot bag. So I've cleaned the table. Yeah, new dining room leads into new kitchen, which I love it. That red pot on the stove has got about 4 chickens worth of bones in it. I'm making a stock. Round the corner is the utility room, and then just off from what you can see, is a little shower room and toilet. And then outside, it's going to rain in a minute, so I thought I'd do this now because I'm going to take you outside, and I'm going to stop talking so I don't embarrass myself with the neighbours. This is all my junk, look. I've set myself up. I'm just going to do a few bits of stitching. And there's Miss Marceline before I do stuff. Okay, and this isn't Instagram worthy because it's tidier than normal, don't get me wrong, but there's still piles of junk everywhere from moving around things, because all of this stuff is for the charity shop. And then this is my old desk, which has had a major clear out, but there's still some crap on it. And that's where I used to type up blog posts and whatnot. But now I type blog posts. Well, I haven't yet, but I will by going quickly upstairs. Hang on, let's just run up the stairs momentarily. Oh, look, there's a bin in the bathroom. We're not 100% there because we haven't got carpet, and this carpet on the stairs needs to come up because it's 15 years. And so I bring you to our office. Sorry, not mine. It's the family office. Craft room. It's my craft room / office for the family. Ta-da! It's not like massive, but it's perfect for what I need it for, which is yarn storage, isn't it? Yarn, 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 yarn. Crochet books, 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 swatches and general detritus. And also there's some knitting books and sewing books and things like that, and magazines, but ultimately I think you'll find it's predominantly crochet. I don't know, I'm out of breath. All I've done is walk like around the house once. And then, yeah, yarn, 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 yarn. Magazines and printed paid patterns and things like that I bought over the years. Yeah, and then hello, oh, look, you can see me. That's my reflection. Go beyond my reflection, and look, there you go. That's my birthday card from my baby for this year. He did a crochet cat, isn't he lovely? And that's it.